Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. As you can see, I have another pick a card reading today that is a bit of a positivity boost as we're exploring the question, what is admirable about you? So a bit of a mood and spirit booster for today. Let's pick our piles. For pile number ones, I have the card, Happiness with dolphins. For pile number twos, I have the card Abundance with the meadow flowers. And for pile number threes, I have the card New Beginnings with the image of a sunrise in the background of the card. So after you've decided which pile you would like read for you today, my lovely viewers, as always, the timestamps for the readings are down in the description box below and the pinned comment at the top of the comment section. Click on that timestamp to get your What is Admirable About You reading for today, and I will see you there. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number ones. Welcome to your pick a card reading today that is all about the great positivity boost question, what is admirable about you? So like most of my readings, this is going to be in different sections. These cards are for section number 2, so I'm going to set these down here with me just for a bit, and then we'll focus on both your pile leader and then also most of your first section cards for today right now. So let's set your pile leader off to the left here, and we'll focus on it in a second. We'll see what connections pop up. Your archetypes card for today is Rebel. Okay. Light attributes. Challenges authority to affect social change. Rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. And I won't read the shadow attributes because this is reading about what's admirable about you. So we'll not focus on the shadow attributes today for this reading because that's not the topic. But all right, maybe a little bit of a rebel to traditions here, pile number ones, in a good way. Okay, let's see what else pops up. We have She Who Stands. Valencia, resolute. Implacable, or implaceable, excuse me if I butchered that pronunciation. Determined. Someone who does not sit down when things need to be stood up for. Okay. That probably ties in with that rebel energy, right? We also have the lizard and pitcher plant, stagnation. Okay. I'm seeing someone who's very like solid earthy type vibes, pile number ones, especially with your Valencia card and this pitcher plant lizard card. You don't let things stand that are more morally wrong, is what I'm seeing already. Okay. Let's keep the cards out before I go into the full details, but prepare. Okay, so probably a bit of an organized person, pile number ones. Lovely. You have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, you have a lot of willpower, okay? Yep. And then your cards are, look at that, the Sun. Ties in with your Happiness card. Lovely card to get. Fantastic pile number ones. We have the Queen of Swords. Very intelligent, okay. Someone who knows things deep down. Very smart. Maybe not boastful about it, but... And then the Four of Cups, which traditionally the Four of Cups I would see as a card of either being apathetic or not paying attention to something, but in an admirable qualities reading, I would almost see this as you're someone who doesn't let things bother you. Yeah. Okay. So, for the first section of your reading today, what is admirable about you, pile number ones? Kind of like I was going over in lighter detail when I was pulling out the cards. First thing that's popping up here, definitely the Sun, and then with your Happiness card over here, your pile leader that you use to choose your pile for today, pile ones. Positivity, someone who is very optimistic, someone who is very open-minded, someone who is focused on the light, someone who is not afraid to kind of hold... I don't want to say this in a cheesy manner, but I will. Someone who's not afraid to hold darkness at bay. You're kind of almost a heroic person I'm seeing here, pile number ones, especially in conjunction with both the Happiness and the Sun, which is like a lot of light and positivity, right? But also with your, definitely with the Rebel, the Nine of Wands, the Valencia, She Who Stands, this card right here, and your Queen of Swords. You're someone who is well, number one, very, very intelligent, especially here with the Queen of Swords popping out. You're someone, and then also in conjunction with your Prepare card. You're especially intelligent in the realm of preparation, of expecting things to come. It could be that you have really, really, really good intuition with things, like you never really leave any details unplanned for or unheeded. You might be the type of person who makes a lot of lists, who makes a lot of detail-oriented plans for things, because you want to make sure that every last thing is accounted for so that things can go very smoothly. I get very Virgo vibes with this. I have a Virgo in my life, and she's very much like that, very detail-oriented, planned things out, right? So, yeah, definitely prepared. But also the Prepare card here in conjunction with, like I said, Rebel, Knight of Wands, and Valencia, the She Who Stands. You're also prepared you're kind of like a warrior in the way that you're a defensive warrior. You're not the type of person to lash out, but when something is being done that's morally wrong or that doesn't feel right to you, you're the type of person that's willing to actually stand. You're not one of those people who, like, in psychology or sociology, there's a really commonly known thing called the bystander effect, which is a thing where, or a syndrome? I'll just call it a thing. A little bit unspecific, but it's a thing where, like, let's say someone is in the middle of the street and they start having, like, say, a heart attack, right? They drop down, they're having issues, right? Psychologically, a lot of humans, for some reason, I don't know why we do this, but perhaps someone versed in psychology could explain why, but a lot of humans will just stand by and let that person that's having a heart attack just sit there and have their issue without going forward to help, except if one person who's a leader type goes forward to start helping, then other people will start following and be like, oh, okay, yeah, like, let's help this person with the heart attack, which, I mean, that sounds kind of dark. I don't know if it's, like, an insecurity thing on part of humanity's, like, psyche or whatever, but, like, thinking, oh, well, I shouldn't do something unless someone else stands forward and does that. You're not like that, pile number ones. You're the type of person where you're that first one who says, screw the bystander effect, I'm going to go forward and I'm going to do the right thing right away. So I get leadership vibes there, but you're not, like, a very prominent type leader. You're a very quiet leader in that, like, you're not thirsting for power. You're not thirsting for showing off. You're the type of leader that when something needs to get done and needs to be done right, you're the one that'll step forward and get it done. So, yeah, that's that Valencia, that Prepare card. It could be that, you know, even when it comes to societal problems here, especially with Rebel, you're the type of person who, like it says, challenges authority to effect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. It could be that you are passionate about, like, let's say, politics or human rights, those types of things. Generally, in any way that where society impacts humanity in a negative way, this is likely an area where you shine a lot, pile number ones, because you have that energy to be willing to stand up and with your willpower here, especially too, because your lizard and pitcher plant here, it says stagnation. But in an Admirable qualities reading, I almost see that as, because the lizard is especially with its tail highlighted here, it's the type of creature where its tail can be cut off and it keeps going and it can regenerate a new tail. It's the same thing here, similar energy with your Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is the energy of almost fighting to the bitter end and keeping going even when all seems lost or when it's too difficult or when most people would just kind of give up. That energy right there, pile number ones, tells me that you have really, really strong willpower, and on top of being able to stand up for what's right, on top of your optimism, and on top of your high intelligence here, I'm saying, you're someone who lasts a lot longer than other people. Like, an example I'm being shown here intuitively is, like, if you were on a game show where everybody had to survive, just at least metaphorically, you're the person that would be probably the last person standing. Like that type of willpower and that type of drive to keep going when a lot of other people would just give up. That could be one of the reasons why you're so good with analyzing social structures that don't benefit humanity, and why you're so good at preparation is because a lot of people might just look at things like that and think, that takes a lot of work to, enact change within society or stand up for the right thing, and people might just kind of sit down and not really say anything about it because, unfortunately, like, dark side of humanity, some people are just lazy and they just, but you're not that type of person. You're the type of person that, like I said, you have that willpower, that drive to fight to the bitter end for what's right and to do the right thing. So yeah, I think that's why you also got the sun here and then the happiness card, because not only is it like optimism and positivity pile number ones, but it's also shining clarity on things. Like, you're not afraid. I almost kind of see it as like you're the type of person where people of lower moral, people of lower moral patterns are afraid of you, pile ones, because they know that you're not going to sit down and shut up and just take it. So yeah, you're a warrior, but you're the type of warrior where it's like a defensive warrior, where you'll protect what's right. And you don't go looking for a fight, but if something is kind of tweaking at your moral compass, you're not just going to sit down. So, yeah, definitely kind of a defender, protector vibe I'm getting from you, pile number one. So let's see, before I get to the second section of your reading, any other messages popping out here? I also get the sense that you're very, very patient, pile ones. Like I said with your pitcher plant card here, the pitcher plant is a carnivorous plant, kind of like the Venus flytrap, but the way that the pitcher plant catches its meals is, I believe it has like a sweet smelling kind of water or liquid inside, and then it attracts the flies to come in and then traps them in, and then it like digests them technically. So I get kind of a patience vibe with that, also with your Nine of Wands, that being, yeah, fight to the bitter end, but also you have to have a lot of patience to be able to do that. So that's another admirable quality I see about you, pile number ones. So in summary, so far with the first section of your reading, you are someone who's optimistic. You are someone who fights for what's right. Great moral compass, kind of unwavering. I mean, I even see that you could be offered like $100,000 and you still would do the right thing, even if someone asked you like, hey, I'll give you $100,000 if you do this bad thing, and you'd be like, nah, I don't need it, right? Unwavering, high willpower, very prepared, detail-oriented, very intelligent here with that Queen of Swords energy. And yeah, and then with the Four of Cups, it's like nothing really slips past you. I get the sense that, because like I said, traditionally Four of Cups means like apathy or not seeing something, but as this is an admirable qualities reading, it's like you're someone who kind of keeps tabs on everything, and that's probably leaning into like your detail-oriented, prepared, positive qualities, pile ones. Yeah. Yep, definitely a rebel in a good way. Okay, so let's get to the second section of your reading. So I will clear the table here. My warrior rebels, that's how I would call you, pile ones, so far. All right, so let's see what else Spirit had to say that was positive about you. Okay, your second set of cards, your Elle Qui was She Who Thrives, Orchid, Flourish, Prosper, Blossom. Okay. Let's see how that ties into your other cards before I interpret. You received the Antelope and Wheat, Nourishment. Okay, I'm getting some vibes off this already. And then your dream card was Foresee. It could be some of you are intuitive, pile number ones. Really good instincts. Okay. You received the Knight of Cups. Okay. Following the heart. That could tie into your ability to follow your morals. Be unwavering with your values. Following the heart. Okay. And then your tarot cards are the Hanged Man. That ties into that open-mindedness we talked about before, pile ones. With your Sun card. The Hanged Man is about someone who, at least in reading like this, who can see from different perspectives. It could also mean self-sacrificial, but we'll see what else pops up. Okay, Ace of Wands reversed. All right. And then we have the Queen of Cups reversed. Okay. So another positive quality I'm seeing here, pile ones, is that you're the type of person who, like, you know how to follow your heart because of that Knight of Cups energy here. You know how to follow your heart, but with the Queen of Cups reversed being close to it, you don't get so illogical about, like, because there's some people in the world where they are dreamers, but they don't really think things through when it comes to following their dreams. Tying into, like, what I said before about how you're a very prepared, detail-oriented person, pile ones. You're a dreamer, but you know how to prepare for things. You don't get so caught up in just dreaming. Like, you know how to think about, okay, this is what I want, and you're also very good about, this is how I can tangibly get there, or how I can tangibly manifest that or bring that, you know, into my life or do that thing, right? Yeah, so you're a dreamer, but you're not to a fault. You know how to balance dreaming and doing very equally. So that's another positive quality I see for you here, pile number ones. Yeah, like I said before, open-mindedness, the Hanged Man. That's a great card of someone that knows how to see from different perspectives. So I don't really see that you are... So you know what... You're very moral, pile number ones, and you know what to stand up or how to stand up for what's right, but you're not judgmental about things. I think you're pretty forgiving with people, at least in terms of being open-minded about, you know, the way they live their lives, or, you know, how they might do things differently than you. But as long as it doesn't cross that barrier of going from morally good to morally wrong, right? You are pretty accepting of people I'm seeing here, pile number ones. And then let's see the Ace of Wands reversed. Usually upright, it's about... Yeah, you don't... Okay, so you don't chase dreams wildly, pile ones. Definitely a super, super organized vibes I'm getting here. I know I kind of said that before, so I don't want to reiterate too much, but yeah, because the Ace of Wands is normally upright. It's about being given like a new passion or a new drive. You're pretty good about dedicating yourself to the things that you really like, or the few very, like, I'm trying to think about the best way to word that. Kind of tying into that, you don't chase dreams idly. You plan and prepare for things. You don't just go racing off either based on instinct or emotion, even though you are really in tune with your emotions. I think that's where that intelligence comes in, because you're very in tune with your mind, and you have a really good balance of, like, both the logical and the emotional here. Let's see what else pops out. She Who Thrives and the Antelope and Wheat Nourishment. I think you're very generous, pile number ones, as well. Especially with other people. I think you're very people-oriented in terms of not only that aspect I talked about where you stand up for people when the moral thing needs to be done, but you're also very supportive, hence, like, the nourishment. Like, you, especially with that Antelope and Wheat card, yeah, nourishment, you are... metaphorically speaking, like, bread to other people, and that sounds kind of weird when I just say it that way. You are bread, pile number ones. But what I mean is you're the type of person that people can rely on for just genuinely caring for them, genuinely nurturing them. I get almost kind of motherly vibes. You might be kind of a mother hen in a positive way to your friends and family, tying in with kind of a little bit that leadership quality too. You're almost kind of like a shepherd with a flock, where you take other people under your wing. Not so much that you're smothering them or babying them too much, but in a way where they know that you're a reliable person. Like I said, like bread, you're nourishing and you're nurturing, and you know how to help other people flourish. Yeah. Trying to see any other things that pop out here, pile number ones. Yeah, intuitive is another thing, especially with earlier you got a card in, I can't remember which one it was, but in the first section of this reading, plus your 4C card here. It could be that you're literally intuitive, like have abilities of some sort, clairvoyance, etc. It could also mean that just with your having such good instincts about people, you know how to, like, predict things and read people really well. And that's probably part of that detail-orientedness, that preparedness, because you're always planning for the next step, so you always kind of are like one step ahead of the game. It could be, not only at work, but like planning ahead with social gatherings, planning ahead with just like steps in your own life. Let's see what else pops out here. Pile ones. It could be you're a bit of a romantic too, pile ones. The Knight of Cups is kind of known as the romantic card, someone who is romantic. You can see, he's even got like a white horse. He's playing a song alone at a campfire. Kind of dreamy, kind of romantic. And if that's not necessarily... So for some of you, that could mean romantic in a really good with romantic relationships way. For others of you, it could also mean that you are... I don't want to say, like, fanciful, because you're very rooted in logic, but, like... It could be just kind of more of that dreamer vibe, where... I'm trying to find the best way to word that. Kind of a romantic person in terms of the things that you enjoy and the things that you like to do. Like, for example, like some people, when it comes to picking out a vacation, some people would really like to go roughing it in the woods, whereas you're more of the romantic type person who would probably like, let's go for a stroll in Paris, something romantic like that, or Rome, or more sentimental type things rather than like adventurous type things. Not that you're not brave. I think you are, especially with that warrior energy I was getting earlier, but yeah, you're very people oriented, and I think where that comes in too. So anything else I pick up here? Pile number one's admirable qualities. I definitely see like a joyful person in general too, hence your happiness card and the sun card you got earlier. Like, it might not be that you're outwardly very giggly and extroverted. You might be, if it's the case that you're introverted, where, yes, you may be quiet, but you're also generally a very, like, positive person to be around. I see you as someone who is kind of a light in other people's lives in terms of not only, like I said, that nourishment where you nurture other people, but you also try to maybe make them see, like, the good side of things or, like, the silver lining to things. Yeah, so that might be where the hangman also comes in too, where not only are you open-minded, but you help other people see other perspectives on things, kind of like a positive devil's advocate for them, so yeah. Alright, so to summarize pile number ones, like I said, you are patient warriors. You're people with a lot of willpower. Very open-minded, very positive, I'm seeing here. Could be a little bit romantic, both in the actual romantic sense, but also in the sentimental sense, in terms of the things that you like, how you like to dress, or like a vacation that you would choose over another. Someone who likes to nourish others. Someone who is very moral and stands up for what's right. I might have said open-minded already, but if not, open-minded. Very, very intelligent, I'm seeing here, and you really know how to balance between being a dreamer, but also like the tangible, how do we get that done type energy. Good balance of like air and earth is what I'm seeing here. Yeah, and also someone who is willing to analyze what's wrong with society in terms of the way it impacts humans here, especially with Rebel. And it's probably something that you think about a lot. You're very people-oriented, pile number ones. I'm trying to think, is there any other aspects we talked about? Yeah, nothing really escapes your attention, pile ones. You're detail-oriented, very forward planning. Like I said, you could even be intuitive in some way, hence your foresee card. But if not that, then at the very least, you're the type of person who is always one step ahead of the game, always planning for the future. So yeah, I think that is it. So pile number ones, I hope that reading was a nice positivity boost for you today. I hope it was helpful for you. As always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, my awesome pile number twos. Welcome to your pick a card reading today that is all about the positivity boost of what is admirable about you. So as always, my reading today will be kind of split into different sections. We'll have two main sections. So I'm just going to set the second section of cards down here with me until later. And we'll focus on your pile leader, which as you recall was the card Abundance with the meadow flowers. And your first set of cards over here on the left. So we'll set that over here and start interpreting once we get all the cards on the desk. Your Archetypes card for today, pile number twos, is God. Okay. Some of you are gods. No, I'm just kidding. You're not a god, but I'm just joking with you, but anyways, light attributes: benevolence and compassion, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. I won't read shadow attributes today because this is a completely positive reading about your admirable qualities, right? So benevolence and compassion, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. Okay, your Elle Qui is Primavera, she who begins, launch, actualize potential. Okay. Nice. I don't know if you work on world building pile number 2s with, if you're into writing like fiction that deals with like speculative fiction, so fantasy or sci-fi. You might be into world building and or into more speculative fiction like that. Anyways, let's get your cards down before I get too far in the weeds. The Ram and Dahlia, determination. Okay. Especially here, because with God and then she who begins, I get creator vibes. So we'll see what else pops out, but world building was one specific thing that did come up. Okay. Ponder, yep, deep thinker, okay. Once again, I'm getting world building vibes with that. We'll see what else pops out. Then we have the Three of Pentacles, team oriented. You were a great person to work with, pile number 2s. I can tell you that already. I bet you they like you at work. Okay. And then we have the Fool reversed. We have the Two of Pentacles or Wheels reversed. And we have the Page of Swords reversed. Okay, let's see. Your positive, admirable qualities, pile number 2s. Like I said, right off the bat, thing that popped out for me. I think you are a creator type personality, pile 2s. Especially with not only your God card, but your Ponder card and Primavera about launching, actualizing potential. You're someone that likes to start things. You're probably someone who is very, very good about getting things off the ground, especially in tandem with other people, pile number 2s. This Three of Pentacles is all about teamwork, right? They're working together to put the designs or the stars up on the barn. So, like I said, when I was pulling that card out, you're probably very, very lovely to work with. I think you see the human aspect of your coworkers and or other people you work with, even when it comes to things that are not job related. It could be with family too. You're very unity and harmony sort of focused with people. Deep thinker I'm getting to, especially with your Ponder card here and your Page of Swords as well. Deep thinker, someone who pauses a lot to think about the deeper aspects of things. Hence maybe why you're a really good creator type personality, pile number 2s. Like I said, could be world building, so that is like if you are into speculative fiction, like making sci-fi fantasy worlds, etc., some sort of attribute like that. But yeah, deep thinker, someone who really sees the kernel of truth in things. I think you're really good about parsing the dynamics between different people. So even if you're not an extroverted person, you could be introverted, pile 2s. I think you're really good about reading people, is how I would say that, especially when it comes to working in tandem with other people with your Three of Pentacles here. I think you're also someone who finds success pretty easily, and or if not easily, you're really good about at least launching off the ground from, going from like nothing to something. Especially because of your Abundance card and your Primavera card over here. I'll just uncover her for a bit. Because it says launch, actualize potential. It could be that you're a self-starter. It could be someone with a self-employed with a small business of their own. It could also be that you're a gardener, pile number 2s. I know gardening isn't necessarily like, that's more of a hobby than an admirable trait, but I get a lot of feeling with that here, especially because, the farm, the flowers, and then the vines over here with Primavera. You're someone who, even with the God card, you're someone who can nurture things from, like I said before, like nothing to something. Yeah, you're very good about getting things off the ground and getting things going. It could be even that in your work, pile number 2 is that you help other people get things off the ground, hence your teamwork orientedness. Yeah. You're very good about being fair with people in social and work groups. And then let's look at your Ram for a second here. Ram and Dahlia, which is determination. So I think that kind of ties in with your ability to get things off the ground. I don't think you give up very easily, pile number 2s. You see things through to the end. Like, a lot of people, and I struggle with this with myself, so I'm kind of speaking from experience. A lot of people can be really good about starting things but not finishing them. That's me personally, but you're the type of person, pile number 2s, who is really good about not only starting things but also seeing them through to the end here. I see with that determination card. And then with the Fool reverse, that kind of feeds into that too, where the Fool is usually like the beginning or a new journey, but it being reversed in an Admirable Traits reading is someone who knows how to get things off the ground, but not in a risky way, because that's the warning of usually of the Fool reversed is be careful of risks with new adventures, right? You're someone who knows how to work with that. And then with your 2 of Pentacles or Wheels reversed here, it's like balancing. You're really good about balancing different aspects of your life. So it could also be that you're someone who's very, very good at maintaining a good balance between things when it comes to, it could be with teamwork. You're really good at balancing the different needs and wants of people in a team. Could be you're even kind of manager energy there because of that. It could be also with yourself, like balancing, family and like work life and self-care and those types of things. And or that's someplace that you're going to get to someday if you're struggling with that right now. That might be part of kind of your path is getting there. That eventually will be a trait of yours. But yeah, so it's a work-life balance and then getting things off the ground, getting things running. And then, like I said, that insight here with the Page of Swords, especially with your Ponder card, someone who thinks really, really deeply. I think you're also really good about seeing the big picture, pile number 2s. I think a lot of people get caught up in kind of the nitty-gritty details of like the mundane, smaller things, and you're really good about, okay, let's view this from a bigger picture, what's going on here. So you might also be really good at like just project management in general, pile 2s. It could just be you're also really good at not getting so caught up in, like, you're good about getting things done, and I think maybe that's why you're really good about launching things and getting things off the ground, is because you can see things from a bigger picture so easily, whereas other people might get caught up in, okay, well, I gotta do this, and then they think of it as like a big overcoming thing that, or maybe I should say more intimidating thing that they have to accomplish or overcome, whereas you know how to break everything down into more minute steps and actually get things done. So that's what I'm seeing for you so far, pile number 2s. Before I go on to your second section, let's see if there's anything else I can glean for your admirable traits. Very wise here, once again with that Fool reversed. The warning with the Fool reversed, like I said, can usually be about be careful about being risky, but in this type of reading, I would say to someone who's very wise, it could be that you're kind of an old soul, pile number 2s. Someone who maybe always has seemed wise beyond their years. I can see that there as well. That's probably where that insight comes in. You're really good at reading people and reading situations and seeing things from a bigger perspective because you have that kind of old soul vibe with you, pile number 2s. And then you also have a lot of benevolence and compassion, though, here, like your God's card says. It could be you're very, very spiritual, but if you're not, like, super spiritual, generally I just see, like, yeah, like it says benevolence and compassion. You're really good with people in terms of treating them well, in terms of doing what's best for them, in terms of being compassionate. I think you really feel with others. You're really empathetic, pile number 2s. I'm getting the sense here. Maybe a bit of a sensitive person, and I mean that in a positive way, where you're just very in tune with others. And even if you're not extroverted, like I said before, and you're more introverted, you're still very, very in tune with people. I get, if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, I get kind of INFJ vibes off of this reading. So you might be an INFJ, pile number 2s, in which case, hello, that's me too. Even though sometimes I get INFP, but anyways. Yeah, INFJ, INFP, maybe even INTP vibes here, if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, is kind of what I'm seeing here, pile number 2s. And then same thing on the extroverted side, so ENFJ, ENFP, etc. could be you, so yeah. Let's see what else pops out before I go to your second section here. Yeah, very nature-oriented as well, pile 2s. Like I said before, I don't know if you're a gardener or into farming or having like a small amount of livestock, or you just like being outdoors a lot. That's another sense I'm getting off of you. So yeah, nature-oriented vibe. And I also usually don't comment on like physical appearance pile number 2s, but I get the sense that you have the type of looks that are, I don't want to say stunning, that's not the right word. You catch people's eye really well, pile number 2s. Like I said, I don't normally comment on physical appearance, but that's something I'm really seeing popping out here, especially with your Dahlia card here, and then the God card and your Primavera. So I don't know if there's some sort of your physical attributes that is kind of striking to people. Striking, that's maybe a better word. That's striking to people. Could be the color of your hair or your eyes in some way. Yeah, or your appearance in general. Okay, and then is there anything else popping out here, pile 1, or excuse me, pile 2s? Yeah, you might also be really handy, pile 2s, someone who's really good with their hands. That could be part of that creative energy or creator energy I saw before, maybe not just with writing. It could also be you're really, like, you work with wood, like, wood shop type things, building things, mechanically minded, maybe fixing things. That's something I'm also seeing here, pile 2s. Yeah, someone who's very handy. And or if you're not sure or not quite there yet, I get the feeling that if you tried something like wood shop or woodworking, you might be really good at it, pile 2s. Yeah, just someone who's very like down to earth and good with their hands with things. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the second section of your reading. Gotta clear most of the table here. My lovely down to earth pile number 2s who are good with their hands and apparently stunning or striking. Okay, and then let's look at your other cards. We have Elle Qui, She Who Surprises, Brise, perhaps. Surprise, discovery, revelation. I think there's a really hidden aspect to you, pile number 2s, that people maybe don't perceive right away. Let's see, the snail and huckleberry, trust in the invisible. Yeah, you... there's some hidden quality to you, pile number 2s, that's admirable. Let's see what else comes out before I comment on that. And then you received reflect. And once again, I'm getting like physical appearance vibes here, pile number 2. Something's very striking about you. This can also lean into that vibe we were talking before where you're kind of a deep thinker, deep ponderer. You have good insight with people. Okay. And then we have the Knight of Wands. All right, pursuing your passions. Okay, lovely. You know how to wrangle your passions. A passionate pursuer. Okay, and then your other cards here are Judgment reversed. Okay, interesting. I'll read that in a second. The Page of Cups reversed, and the 5 of Pentacles or Wheels reversed. Yeah, creative person, pile number 2, especially with the Page of Cups. But creative because normally upright, I would see this as like a super artistic person who's like into painting, like you would think stereotypical art, but with Page of Cups reversed, I think you're creative, like I said, in that very hands-on way with like, there's some sort of thing that you do that's not like a typical artistic hobby that you would think of when someone says art. Like I said, it could be woodworking, for example, was what was popping up before. Very good with your hands, but creative with it. You know how to be artistic with like the physical, I guess is how I would put it. I think that's where, yeah, partially where that Knight of Wands or that creator energy is coming in with the God card there. And then your Judgment card is interesting, because normally Judgment upright is about moving into a different phase. It could also be that you're kind of youthful at heart, pile number 2s. You're someone who hasn't really become jaded as you've gotten older. You're someone who still can think about things up in an uplifting manner, or deep down, you're very positive. Uplifting others as well, I see here. And then the 5 of Pentacles reversed is also interesting, where Because normally upright, that's about poverty. You can see they're like burning the wheels to keep warm. But reversed, it's like moving out of poverty. So it's either that you're really, really, really good with your money, pile number 2s, or you're very satisfied with little, is how I would interpret that. So you're kind of a humble person, pile 2s, is another positive aspect, admirable trait about you. Humble, down to earth is like that, what I was saying before with the first section of your reading. But yeah, there's some hidden quality to you, pile 2s. What's that hidden quality? Especially with these 2 cards. Trust in the invisible and surprise. I think on the surface, pile number 2s, you come off as more like serious, but deep down, yeah, you have that more youthful vibe, that more creative vibe than maybe people expect off of you. It could be that while you are a very creative person in a non-traditional way, like I said, could be woodworking, deep down, people don't really, like, first look at you, they wouldn't quite expect that from you. There's some aspect of you that's kind of hidden with, where people will look at you and then getting to know you afterwards, they're like, oh, well, I expected this from you, but actually you do this thing. Like, it could be one of your hobbies, it could be a trait of yours. It could be that you're a lot more fiery and passionate about things deep down than you come off at first glance. Like, you're more serious right away. And then as people get to know you, pile number 2s, you open up into this more creative and kind of emotional and passionate person, especially with the Knight of Wands here. That's someone who is follows their passions, right? Someone who charges forward. Let's see what else pops out here. Yeah, reflect. I think you're also really good about giving people context on the past, pile number 2s. It could be a lot of people come to you with questions about, like, what advice do you have about this situation? And you're really good about not necessarily giving them the answer. You're good about making them kind of reflect on their own here, hence your reflect card. You're good about helping people think about things in a different way than perhaps that they had been thinking before. So, like, for example, if a friend comes to you and is like, hey, I'm having an issue with this relationship, you're the one that would kind of point out, well, did you think about, like, this aspect? And most of the time it's like something that they haven't even thought of before. And they're like, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. So you're really good about, kind of with that insight card we had earlier, you're good about pointing those things out to other people because you're such a deep thinker, pile 2s. Yeah, and you're down to earth, but I think you're also, you hide a lot of your talents, pile 2s, hence that humility vibe I was getting. That could also be where your surprise and your snail and huckleberry card comes in, because you're not a braggart. You're someone who is humble. You're someone you're good at a lot of things, but you're not going to run around pushing it in people's faces. Yeah. Humble is a good word for that. Let's see what else pops out here, pile 2s, before I wrap up your reading. Not judgmental, especially with judgment reversed. Normally I wouldn't read that card that way, but as like an admirable qualities reading, I would see it that way, where it being reversed is you're not judgmental. I think you're pretty open-minded and chill with most people. Not judgmental at all. Yeah, let's see what else pops out here. Creative in a non-traditional way. We already covered that. I also get the sense, pile number 2, is that when it comes to romance, you're the type of person to it might, I guess the best word to put it is like very loyal in romance, pile 2s. You kind of, when you get attached to someone or attracted to someone, I feel like you're someone who pursues them solely, and it's like that one focus you have. You're very loyal that way, and even when you're in a relationship with people, I feel like loyalty is very important to you, and that you're a very loyal partner yourself is another admirable quality here, pile number 2s. I also just think that you're really good with success in general here, especially with your abundance card, but all the other cards that have popped up, about getting things off the ground and getting things going. I think you have a lot of, at least maybe if you're not quite there yet, pile number 2 is a lot of qualities about you are primed for you just to become very successful in life at whatever it is that you might want to pursue. Nothing specific is popping out at me, as this is a general reading, so a lot of you might be successful at different things depending on who's viewing this at this moment, but yeah, I think it's because you have that dedicated focus too. And like I said, your abundance card, you're really good at, and your Five of Pentacles reversed, you're really good at finding success and saving your money and being wise. Once again, that wise kind of old soul vibe here. Like, it's almost like you've been here a lot before and you've done this so many times here on Earth. Like, I'm talking about like past lives reincarnation concepts now, but that you kind of already know a lot more than other people intuitively about how to go forward with projects or how to go about things. Hence that kind of wise vibe I'm getting. So, yeah. So to summarize pile number 2s, the whole entire reading, your admirable qualities are you're really good about getting projects off the ground. You're benevolent and compassionate. You're very good at, could be world building or being creative kind of in a non-traditional way. I'm seeing woodworking was one thing that popped out. Could also be like gardening, farming popped out a lot with the first section of your reading. You're someone who has really good insight, very wise. There's kind of some hidden qualities about you. I think, like I said, I don't normally comment on physical appearances, but I think there's some part of you that's very striking to people. I'm getting from these cards. Humble is another thing that I'm seeing as an admirable quality for you, pile number 2s. Someone who is, creative, but like in a non-traditional way that most people would expect, and very, very loyal in love, deep thinker. Trying to remember if there's any other things that popped out. I think that was it. So, pile number 2s, as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today that is all about a positivity boost of what is admirable about you. So, this reading, like most of my readings, will be kind of cut up into different sections. I'll have a section 1 and a section 2, and we'll go through with both sections all of your admirable positive qualities. I'm just going to set these down here with me from section 2 until towards the second half of your reading. And let's focus right now on your pile leader and your first section. So, as you recall, the card used to help pick your pile was the Sunrise New Beginnings. Alright, and before I comment on that, I want to pull out your other cards, so let's look at those. Your Archetypes card today is Judge. Okay. Light attributes, balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of power. Okay. I'm not going to read the shadow attributes because this is a admirable qualities reading for today. So these are the things that are positive about you. So someone who is very fair. I can already see that there with the Judge card as a positive quality that's popping out. She Who Dreams, Isra. Escape, dreams, fantasy. So maybe a bit of a fantastical dreamer type person. Creative, or at least imaginative. And then we have the Duck and Chrysanthemum, Luck. Okay, we'll see how that reads into the other cards before I comment on it. Excuse me. And then we have your Dream card is Trust. Okay. I think that ties in with your Judge card. Someone who is very fair. Someone who people know they can trust. And then 8 of Pentacles. Hard worker. Hard worker. Fantastic. And then your 3 tarot cards for this section are, we'll look at that 10 of Wands. Normally in most readings I would read that as the card of shouldering too many burdens, but since this is a positive aspects or admirable traits reading, especially with your 8 of Pentacles right next to it, you know how to handle a lot. Pile number 3 is hard workers. You know how to do a lot of things, and you're very hardworking, okay? And then the Empress, motherly type vibes and or nurturing, knows how to grow things. And then the Hierophant reversed, which is normally upright, about tradition, spirituality. Reversed, it's about bucking tradition, or not being so set in old patterns. So That is one way I would say it. So, get my ducks in a row, excuse the pun, because you have a duck card today, and read your admirable traits. So, right off the bat, like I said, pile number 3's already kind of talked about it. Hard workers. That is your first positive admirable trait. Eight of Pentacles here is all about someone who works very diligently at their craft. As you can see, the woman here is working really hard on a quilt, patching the different squares together. Not easy. It has to be done one step at a time, right? Diligently sewing each thing together. So it could be that this literally means you're great at yarn or fabric work. Could be sewing, knitting, crochet, etc. Embroidery, pile number 3's, but in general, if that maybe doesn't necessarily apply to you as a hobby that you're talented at, hardworking. That's what the Eight of Pentacles means. That's the card of being diligent and putting a lot of effort into things. Especially here with your Ten of Wands, like I said, normally this is the card of burdens in a regular tarot reading, but in a positive admirable traits reading, this is someone who knows how to carry a heavy load. They know how to balance a lot of things. So at work, pile number 3's, I guarantee you're probably someone who works very, very hard. You're very good about working for your paycheck. You're not one to shirk hard work. It could be that something that maybe frustrates you with other people is when they shirk work, because you're someone who is very diligent with your own. So very responsible, I guess, is another way to put that. Pile number 3 is someone who is very good at doing as they're told. Being fair about things, even tying in with your Judge card, like it says, balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of power, and then also kind of tying into your trust too. You're a very, very fair person, pile number 3 is. You're someone that people can turn to give a fair assessment or judgment on something. I think people trust you a lot, pile number 3 is, because you're so fairness-minded. Like, for example, if you had a best friend that came up to you and told you about a particular situation and wanted your opinion on, who was right and wrong in it, like, you would word it very, very gently, I think, pile 3's, but you would be also very honest with your friend if they were, in fact, the person who was in the wrong in a certain situation that they're asking about. So because of that, people know that you're trustworthy, that you're someone who will tell them the truth, even if it's not necessarily the most fun thing to hear. So you're reliable that way, pile number 3's. You're someone people can rely on to... I think a lot of people also trust you with secrets, pile number 3's. You're someone who they know that they can put their trust in. Kind of tying your trust card with your Ten of Wands here. Like, I almost see it as like holding a lot of secrets. I think that's because another reason why people trust you so much is that they know that if they tell you even their deepest, darkest secrets, you're not going to go tell everybody. So, yeah. Let's see what else pops out here. Pile number 3's. See, new beginnings is like a sunrise. Yeah, a bit of a dreamer, pile number 3's, and I mean that in like an imaginative way. It could be that you're very invested in, sort of like pile number 1's, in speculative fiction, like sci-fi fantasy is kind of what I'm getting from these vibes here. Someone who imagines things a lot. It could be that some of your hobbies, deal with imagining things a lot, like art or writing could be one aspect. Someone who like, I mean, they could put you in you could be put into an empty room and you would never get bored, I guess is how I would put that, because you're someone who has such an imaginative mind that you know how to entertain yourself. It could be that even when you were young, maybe you kind of leaned into that because, you were bored at school a lot, or, maybe you were a little bit more isolated or introverted, so you kind of were off dreaming on your own a lot. And so because of that, you have a very, very strong imagination, high creativity, pile number 3's. And then, let's see here, the duck and chrysanthemum, like I said, is luck. And then your Hierophant reversed is bucking tradition. And then we have the Empress, which is growth. Okay, how do we interpret those? 1 second. Very nurturing energy, pile number 3's here, especially with the Empress. Traditionally, this is the card of motherhood, feminine energy, bringing things to abundance, taking care of things, compassion, nurturing, like I said before. You're very, very, very good at taking care of people, pile threes. I don't know if you have a job where you are like a nurse or some sort of people-oriented job where their health or their happiness is kind of the goal. Yeah, very nurturing. Maybe even to the point of being self-sacrificial, especially with the Ten of Wands here, pile number 3, is you're so nurturing and caring and hardworking that maybe you lean a little bit towards burnout, but that is an admirable quality about you, at least in terms of how reliable you are about taking care of other people. And then I get a little bit of not quite rebel vibes from you, pile threes, but with the Hierophant reverse, like I said, that's like breaking old patterns that don't serve us anymore. It's also bucking tradition, like I said. You kind of see the ways in society, especially with your Judge card here, you see the ways in society where like they don't necessarily serve people well. You're kind of like pile number 1s in that way. They had a little bit, they literally got like the rebel card. You're that, but you're more in a soft way. You're not quite so, it's not so prominent in your personality, pile threes, but there is still a little bit of that there, especially with the Judge card here up in the left. Yeah. I also get the sense that you're pretty forgiving, pile threes. Your New Beginnings card, along with your Empress card, I see in conjunction as, especially with Judge too, like you're someone who, and Trust, kind of all 4 of those cards, right? You're someone who is forgiving, not to the point where like you get taken advantage of, or at least maybe that was an issue in the past, but isn't so much now. You're someone who, like, they know they can turn to you even if maybe it's a situation where like no one else believes them, or like a social group is kind of, outcasting them for kind of dumb reasons that don't really make sense. You're the type of person that people know that they can turn to make a judge based on your own opinions and your own experiences, and you don't follow the crowd so much like that. Like, you don't really succumb to peer pressure, pile threes. You're pretty independent that way, where you'll give people a fair chance, I think, even if, let's say, like a whole social group that might be like shunning somebody. You're someone who would be like, hey, wait a minute, like, let's give them a chance to explain, or like let's be fair here, right? That type of vibe I would get off of you. Very impartial, very fair. Like, let's weigh the balance scales here, like with the Judge card, and give them a fair chance to explain themselves, or at least to apologize and make up for what they did. Yeah. Yeah, and then the Luck card is interesting here with the Duck and Chrysanthemum. Luck. It could just mean that you're very lucky in general, pile number threes. That's not necessarily like an admirable trait, because it's kind of something out of your control, but let's see, luck. It could just mean that you're just very successful in general, pile threes. You seem to have a lot of luck in different areas, and I don't mean luck as in like you didn't work for it. Like, there was hard work involved, especially here with like the 8 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands vibes they get off of you. Hardworking person, right? But you also tend to be pretty successful, or if you're not there already, you're kind of on that trajectory. I'm seeing pile threes, so yeah. Okay, so let's get to the second section of your reading for today. Let me clear most of the desk here, pile threes. We'll glean some more positive attributes about you. Okay. Pile 2, section 2 of pile 3, we have She Who Questions Amelie, Curiosity, Destiny, Search. Yep, a little bit of that rebel vibe coming back. You don't just take things at face value, pile number 3s. You actually weigh things and consider them carefully. You don't just listen to other people who are trying to convince you of things. You say, hey, let me see things for myself. Let me glean what's honest and what's truth and what's not. All right, and then we have the Squirrel and Chestnut, Preparation. Okay, responsibility vibes, hardworking, once again, we're seeing here. You don't leave things to chance. Maybe that's where that luck card comes in, because maybe other people perceive you as lucky, but really it is, you're really hardworking and you know how to prepare for things. Okay, and then your dream card is Immerse. Get that imaginative vibe again, once again. High imagination, pile threes. Likely you would be very good, if not already, at speculative fiction or writing or just general hobbies that where your imagination comes into play, right? And then you received death. I think you're very accepting of things, pile threes. I think when it comes to the transitions of life, you've had pretty good times accepting things. Because death normally is the card about the end of a certain phase or the rebirth of something. Yeah, you're good about accepting things. You don't cling to things, like not in an unfeeling way, but you know how to pick up and move on, and you know how to accept things. Okay, and then we have, let's see, Three of Swords. Normally that's the card of pain. I think with this reading, it being a positive aspect reading, it's about, with the death card, yeah, like I said, accepting things. It's not that you don't feel pain, but you know how to process it very well, pile threes. Seven of Cups, fantastic at making decisions is how I would read this. Someone who knows how to weigh options carefully. And last but not least, the Tower reversed. So normally upright, the Tower is about things coming down that need to come down. It's almost kind of seen as the disaster card, but not only reversed, but in this type of reading, I would read it as someone who knows how to... how would I put that? It's kind of like your New Beginnings card here. You're someone who knows how to give something a new beginning. Because normally, like I said, the Tower reversed is about something not falling or not coming to a disaster. So I don't know if you're really good in dangerous situations or in high tension situations, pile number threes. I also get the sense maybe some of you are into things where you restore items or you restore things. Maybe you're into more old-fashioned stuff. It could be that you love antiquing, buying antiques, restoring antiques. It could also be that you're into... I see a lot of you might be also into history, is kind of another vibe I'm getting. So someone who's very intelligent in those areas about how to restore things, or intelligent in terms of history, I guess is how I would put that. So let's keep going here with your positive aspects, pile threes. Like I said, as I was pulling the card out, ties into the first section of your reading. Someone who's very imaginative with immerse here. Definitely probably a reader, if not also a writer of some sort. Someone who's well-read, someone who's kind of bookish in a way. Someone who is... probably highly skilled, growing up in English classes perhaps, or similar depending on what country you're from. Language classes, I guess you should say, reading and writing, right? Yeah, someone who accepts things as they come with death and Three of Swords. Yeah, wise decisions. And then, like I was saying with your Amelie card here, she who questions, curiosity, destiny, search. I think... you're also just naturally a very curious person, pile number threes, and I think that ties into, like we were saying before, you don't just accept things at face value. You're someone who wants to get to the kernel of truth in everything. You don't necessarily just follow what you're told. That could also be the Hierophant reverse energy we saw before, where it's like bucking traditions or releasing old patterns that don't serve us anymore. You're willing to look at things in society and in your own life, and... as much as you might like history and you like restoring things, like that's one aspect of your personality, pile threes. You also know when to let go of old things here, also kind of with your Death, Three of Swords cards here. And your Amelie, where it's like she who questions, she who's curious, right? Likely you're the type of person who asks a lot of questions. Very curious, like I said. Let's see. That also is probably why you're very, very good at being fair in judgment to other people, because you do ask questions. You don't just take things at face value. And then your Squirrel card here, like I said, is preparation. Likely, your hardworking nature, pile threes, this ties into that. Someone who knows how to prepare for things, someone who works very hard and plans for the future. Probably financially responsible vibes too, I'm seeing, pile threes. Let's see if there's anything else that pops out at me here for your admirable traits. You're probably also really good about helping others deal with their pain, pile threes, especially with that Three of Swords there, and helping other people make choices. You're almost kind of like an advisor sort of energy I get too. If you don't work in law or a similar type of job, you might also do really well with sorts of jobs that like are good about making judgments or providing people other perspectives on things or gathering all the facts. Yeah, because you're just a very curious person. You're interested in asking people things and learning about their lives, I think, pile 3 is. Yeah, and saving things from disaster. You're the type of person who, like, if there was a disaster going on at work, someone could run up to you and be like, how do we fix this? And you would immediately be like, okay, you need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it's probably why you're so liked at work, pile number 3s, is because you're so reliable and you're so good in intense situations, you know? If anything else pops out at me here. Yeah, wise decisions. Very, very, very smart with making decisions here, pile 3s. All right, well, I think that is it, pile number 3s, for your admirable traits. So just to summarize, very, very, very hardworking. You're someone that can handle a lot of burden. I get the sense that you're very liked at work because of that. You're very good at being responsible, someone that is trustworthy, someone that people can trust not only at work, but also like with their secrets, also to make fair judgments. You're a very fair, judgment-oriented person, kind of an advisor type I see for people. Also very nurturing here with the Empress that you got earlier, because not only are you fair in like a logical way, but you're also fair in a compassionate way. You don't just take people at face value or things at face value. You ask questions, very curiosity-oriented, very wise with making decisions, pile number 3s. And we also have that imaginative thing we were talking about before, not only with your Eastward card you got earlier, but Immerse here. Likely someone who's very well read or talented with the writing arts, and someone who just accepts things when it comes to like phases in life, like with death and the 3 of Swords here. You kind of know how to roll with the punches is how I would put that. So you're very accepting of, okay, well, this is the situation now. Here's how we get out of it, or here's what we need to do, or, you know, you're very stable that way. But with people, you don't take things at face value. You're very good about, like I said, seeking that kernel of truth and not just doing what other people tell you to, or thinking what other people tell you to think. So kind of independent-minded, I guess, is another summary, as I would put that for you, pile number 3, is your admirable traits. Yeah, I think that is it. So pile number 3s, as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I hope to see you in the next video, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.